Prologue. A stunning fall. In late September 2019, a chilling silence in a high-end Kunming neighborhood was broken by a sickening thud. Car alarms blared, and horrified residents looked out to see the twisted body of a woman on the pavement. The victim was Wenbing, a deputy director in the Forensic Technology Department of the Kunming Intermediate People's Court. At her apartment, police found a nervous man, Dao Wenbing, deputy director of the court's enforcement bureau. He claimed Wenbing slipped off the balcony while cooling off, but scratch marks on his chest, signs of a struggle, and surveillance footage told another story. Dao, once a respected judge, was now a murder suspect. A lover's tragedy or something worse. Dao Wenbing initially spun a bizarre tale. He and Wenbing were lovers, and they had agreed to jump together in a tragic suicide pact. But after Yang jumped, he lost his nerve. The police weren't buying it. Physical evidence, glass shards, overturned furniture, bruises suggested a violent altercation. Neighbors heard yelling and smashing sounds. Forensics showed Wenbing didn't fall straight down, she was pushed. Dao had tried to stage a suicide, but all signs pointed to murder. The mistress with many ties, police dug deeper into Wenbing's life. Her apartment, worth over $1 million, was co-owned with Zhao Ligong, a former deputy director of the Yunnan Provincial Public Security Department. Zhao was under investigation for corruption. He wasn't Wenbing's husband, but he was her longtime patron and secret lover. Wenbing had climbed the ranks from an unremarkable temp to a deputy section chief, largely thanks to her intimate ties with high-level officials. She also served as a financial conduit, laundering money and collecting bribes. Bank accounts in her name held over 40 million yuan. Simp and opportunist, Dao Wenbing wasn't Wenbing's only lover, just the most devoted. He showered her with gifts, divorced his wife, and even hoped to marry her. To Yang, he was an ATM. To Dao, she was an elevator to career advancement. When he discovered she was Zhao Ligong's mistress, he wasn't angry. He saw a chance to gain political favor. Dao used Yang to lobby Zhao for a better job. Zhao, a seasoned operator, saw through the ploy and instead demoted Dao to a dead-end post. Later, with Zhao under arrest and Yang under investigation, Dao realized his connection to them would implicate him too. A fatal confrontation. Police found a voice recording on Yang's phone of her and Dao arguing. Dao blamed her for dragging him into a political mess. She taunted him as weak and useless. Then she threatened, if she went down, so would he. That was the final trigger. Enraged, Dao attacked her, and in a fit of fury, shoved her off the 23rd floor. He claimed he loved her, but when cornered, love turned to violence. Forensics found Yang's DNA under his nails and bruising that confirmed foul play. The Iron Judge. Years earlier, Dao Wenbing had been a celebrated judge. Born into a working-class family, he earned his way into the elite Southwest University of Political Science and Law. In the 1990s and early 2000s, he rose fast in the judiciary, gaining national attention for two major cases. In 1998, he tried Sun Xiaoguo, a gang leader with political ties, for violent assault and rape. Despite immense pressure, Dao sentenced him to death, earning public acclaim. Sun's sentence was later commuted and manipulated through corrupt channels. He returned to crime before being executed in 2019. In 2004, Dao presided over the infamous Mo Judge case, where a university student killed for classmates. Dao denied requests for psychological evaluations, pushing forward a swift death sentence. His conduct drew national spotlight and made him a symbol of judicial toughness. Behind the robe. But Dao's style was controversial. Many lawyers described him as arrogant, biased, and more interested in punishing than judging. He rejected defense motions, mocked lawyers in court, and acted more like a prosecutor than a neutral arbiter. His obsession with harsh punishment and personal pride overshadowed judicial fairness. Still, for a time, Dao's career soared, yet he lacked the political savvy and patronage needed to climb higher. By 2009, he was quietly moved to a district-level court. It was a demotion in disguise. A career in decline, frustrated and stalled, Dao tried to claw his way back through informal means, gifts, favors, and connections. Eventually, he returned to the intermediate court, but to a marginal division. Meanwhile, his marriage, once a campus romance, crumbled. His wife, now a successful executive, lived separately. Then came Yongping, 10 years younger, attractive, and familiar with Dao's past courtroom glories. She gave him validation and admiration he desperately craved. Their affair reinflated his ego, but it was built on illusion. Too young, he was just another man under her thumb. The dragon slayer becomes the dragon. Dao once said, "If you go against the law, you're no longer a judge." After Yong's death, he became the very thing he once condemned. The investigation into his crime pulled the curtain on a much wider corruption web. The court president overseeing his case, Chen Chong, was himself arrested for taking over for million yuan in bribes from a tech company, Kaya Technology. The company had bribed over 100 officials to secure government contracts. With Kaya's CEO spilling the names of his clients, more officials were exposed, including prosecutors and police linked to Dao and Yong. The case snowballed into a full-blown political earthquake in Yunnan. The dominoes fall. By 2020, several senior officials in Yunnan's political legal system had fallen. Zhao Ligong's patron, former provincial party secretary Qing Guangron, was implicated. His predecessor, Bai Enpei, had also been jailed for corruption. From the mistresses to the judges, from police chiefs to party secretaries, the entire system revealed layer after layer of dirty dealings, sexual blackmail, and bribery like nested Russian dolls of corruption. Dao Wenbing's trial dragged on. Finally, in January 2023, the Yuxi Intermediate Court sentenced him to death with a 2-year reprieve for intentional homicide, illegal possession of firearms, and corruption. The verdict was upheld by the Yunnan High Court in June. From hero to inmate, it had been 19 years since Dao Wenbing stood on national television, proudly declaring his commitment to justice. Back then, he was the Dragon Slayer. Now, he had become the Dragon. His story is one of moral collapse, from a small-town boy who used education to escape poverty, to a righteous judge who stood against criminals, to a desperate man entangled in a web of desire, power, and betrayal. In the end, Dao wasn't just swallowed by the abyss he dove in willingly.